What if aliens are not hiding from us because they are afraid? What if they are not waiting for the perfect moment to make contact? What if they simply do not care who we are? Humans like to imagine ourselves as the dominant species on Earth. We build cities, we split atoms, we launch rockets, we create artificial intelligence, we point telescopes into deep space and search for signs of life. But to a civilization thousands, millions, or even billions of years older than us, we may not look like the rulers of a planet. We may look like ants. And that idea is more disturbing than any flying saucer in the sky. Imagine walking through a forest and seeing an ant colony. Thousands of tiny creatures are moving through the dirt. They carry food, they dig tunnels, they defend territory, they protect the queen. To the ants, this is everything. Their colony has structure, their world has order, their survival depends on labor, war, cooperation, and instinct. But you do not ask who their leader is. You do not negotiate with the queen. You do not explain your politics to them. You are not evil for ignoring them. You are simply operating on a completely different level of reality. Now reverse the perspective. What if that is how a truly advanced alien intelligence sees us? Not as enemies, not as equals, not even as a civilization worth contacting, just as a strange biological colony on a small rocky planet. Busy, emotional, aggressive, intelligent in our own way, but still primitive. This is the part humans hate to think about. Almost every alien story assumes that we matter. We imagine aliens crossing the galaxy to meet our presidents. We imagine them studying our governments, our religions, our languages, and our nuclear weapons. We imagine ourselves as the main character in the cosmic story. But why? A civilization capable of traveling between stars would not be just slightly ahead of us. It could be so far ahead that the gap between us and them is larger than the gap between humans and insects. 1,000 years of progress is already hard to imagine. 1,000,000 years is almost impossible. 1,000,000,000 years would make their science look like magic. To them, our most advanced technology may look like the first sparks of fire. Our nuclear weapons may look like children discovering explosives. Our artificial intelligence may look like the earliest sign that the colony is about to change. If they found Earth, they might not see a planet ruled by humans. They might see a young biosphere producing technology for the first time, a species playing with oil, electricity, nuclear power, satellites, and machine intelligence, while still fighting over borders, gods, money, and control. From their point of view, we may not look advanced. We may look dangerous. Or worse, interesting. This could explain one of the strangest questions in the UFO debate. If they are here, why do they not land on the White House lawn? Maybe because the White House means nothing to them. Maybe our governments are just temporary social structures. To us, presidents and generals seem powerful. To something much older, they may be no more important than the queen of an ant colony. A human scientist studying ants does not ask permission from the queen. A biologist studying monkeys does not recognize the alpha male as a head of state. We observe. We tag. We record. Sometimes we interfere. Sometimes we destroy habitats without even meaning to. Not because we hate them, but because their world is smaller than ours. So maybe advanced aliens would not make contact in the way we expect. Maybe they would observe our atmosphere, our oceans, our weapons, our signals, our technology. Maybe they would study how fast we are changing. Maybe they would watch to see if we survive the next step. Because a species that invents nuclear weapons before it learns planetary cooperation may be fascinating, but not necessarily ready. But there is an even darker possibility. When humans study ants, we do not always protect them. Sometimes we step on them. Sometimes we poison them. Sometimes we cut through their colony to build a road, a house, or a factory. The ants do not understand why the sky suddenly collapses. They do not understand property law, construction plans, or human economy. They only experience the result. Their world ends because a larger world made a decision they could never understand. Now imagine that happening on a cosmic scale. What if advanced civilizations do not invade planets with armies? What if they reshape environments? What if they harvest resources? What if they move through space doing things that are perfectly logical to them, but catastrophic to younger civilizations? Not out of hatred, not out of conquest, but out of indifference. That may be the scariest version of alien contact. Not evil aliens, indifferent aliens. Because evil at least means they notice you. Indifference means your entire civilization could become collateral damage. This also changes how we think about disclosure. Most people imagine disclosure as one dramatic moment. A president walks to a podium, the cameras turn on, the world goes silent, and humanity finally hears the truth. But the real psychological shock would not only be that aliens exist. The shock would be learning that we are not in control, that humanity is not the highest intelligence on Earth, that our weapons, borders, governments, and ideologies may be irrelevant to something operating above us. This is why the ant colony idea is so powerful. It does not just ask whether aliens are real, it asks what we are. Are we the dominant species? Or are we only dominant from our own tiny perspective? Maybe disclosure is not dangerous because people would panic about aliens. Maybe it is dangerous because it would destroy the human story. The story that we are the peak of intelligence, the center of history, the species that finally understands reality. But what if we are still at the beginning? What if Earth is not a kingdom? What if it is a nest? There is another way to see this. Maybe being ants is not only terrifying, maybe it is humbling. Ants are not meaningless. They build, they cooperate, they survive. They create complex systems without understanding the larger world around them. In a strange way, that sounds familiar. Maybe humanity is not worthless. Maybe we are simply young. Maybe we are a civilization at the edge of discovering that the universe is much bigger, older, and stranger than our ego can handle. So the question is not just, are aliens real? The question is, if they are real, would they see us as equals? Or would they look down at Earth and see a busy little colony, convinced it owns the planet? What if we're just the ants? Subscribe for more strange stories about the future, science, and the mysteries hiding above us.